On December 3rd at 2:54 p.m. local time, Indonesia's Marapi Volcano unexpectedly erupted, sending a plume of ash more than 4,000 meters into the sky and generating pyroclastic flows. These pyroclastic flows scorched the ground in a 200 to 650 meter radius around the crater which erupted, with a lobe of this pyroclastic flow subsequently racing 3 kilometers to the northwest. Although there was an exclusion zone of 3 kilometers from Marapi's central crater, since the volcano was still technically an alert level of yellow, people were still regularly given permission to climb this stratovolcano before this eruption occurred. These hikers probably didn't even know that there was an exclusion zone in place. At the time of the eruption, which essentially occurred without any highly notable warning signs beforehand, a total of 75 people were on this 2,885 meter or 9,465 foot tall mountain. Sadly, 23 of those individuals are now deceased and 12 more were injured. This makes Marapi's estimated VEI-2 eruption the first deadly eruption of 2023 and the 11th deadliest volcanic eruption since the 21st century began. Indonesia has always had a fairly high rate of deadly volcanic disasters, not only due to how densely populated some areas around volcanoes are, but also because in the last century, Indonesia has almost always led the world with the number of ongoing volcanic eruptions. However, this eruption was a bit different from other disasters, as unlike the 3 other Indonesian volcano entries above Marapi on this list, Marapi's eruption was truly unpredictable. While the first explosion that Marapi produced was the largest and lasted for 280 seconds, December 3rd would see 35 additional yet smaller explosions occur. Over the next 120 hours, 37 more volcanic explosions occurred, bringing the total number of events to 73. While it was suspected on day 1 that magma was involved in the latest eruption, an orange glow from ejected bombs of lava only began to be observed on December 6th. These bombs of lava were ejected up to 200 meters away from Marapi's still erupting crater, likely being composed of 1050 degrees Celsius andesite composition lava. While no more measurable ash has fallen on the surrounding town since, there is a potential that volcanic activity could increase again in the next few days. As, while only 6 volcanotectonic earthquakes have been measured during the last month, 2 of those occurred yesterday at fairly deep depths. This could either mean that another batch of magma is advancing up the magma conduit, or it could indicate that the ground is subsiding by a few centimeters in response to the already erupted lava. Since no ground deformation was detected, I am assuming that the former possibility is what is actively occurring. While phreatic eruptions can be completely unexpected, eruptions which have a magmatic component are generally more predictable. Yet, this was not the case with Marapi's latest eruption. Although we do not know exactly why no ground deformation occurred along with other warning signs before the volcano erupted, one notable possibility involves a series of 2 nearby fault lines. One of these fault lines is known as the Great Sumatran Fault, which for all intents and purposes is essentially the Indonesian equivalent of the San Andreas fault line. There is also an adjacent normal fault which cuts perpendicular to this fault and runs through Marapi's various recent vents. What I am suggesting is that intruding magma used a path of least resistance to intrude into what happened to represent one of these 2 fault lines. Therefore, small amounts of magma could theoretically ascend to the surface and avoid space between 2 fault planes without generating any of the typical warning signs, as very little rock would be displaced at depth, not generating any detectable ground deformation. While this is merely an educated guess, if true, it suggests that similar unexpected eruptions could theoretically occur at other volcanoes which lie atop a major fault line. Thus, this topic needs further study. As a final note, please subscribe, and I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube.